if you do not face the facts that you are hopeless at this point and can get better and need to get better, then you will lose. You will find that you might have a degree of success for a while, and all of a sudden that will start to erode because the facade that you put up being a big shot builder starts to decay. It starts to erode. It starts to disappear, and humans start to see through your bullshit story. How old are you going to be before you start to experience life like you want it? I want to tell you right now, whether you like it or not, there is a better way to do business. Hi everyone, welcome to the Business for Builders podcast. Welcome to you if you're in YouTube land. My name's Max. I'm the CEO at Smith & Sons here in Canada. Hey, great to have you tuning in. Always want to give value as much as we can. Just a bit of housekeeping to get started. Like and subscribe, tick the bell, all that kind of good stuff. Also, be sure to check us out on Business for Builders VIP Facebook page. Hit the button there, and hit me. I'll get a request, and if you're a good sort, I'll let you in. We've got a few videos and a few files. It's very much a work in progress, guys and girls. Be patient with me. I'm trying to get a lot of the stuff, that's it's very useful to general contractors uploaded there. Things like checklists and bits and pieces there that's going to help you get some clarity around some of the challenging stuff you got in day-to-day business development. And of course, don't be shy if you've got questions or anything like that. Hit me up, max@businessforbuilders.ca. That's probably the best place to get me, and I shall get back to you as soon as I can. Alrighty, so today what I'm going to talk about real quick is upskill or die. No, that's maybe that's going to be the title, but maybe not. It's a little bit aggressive, but obviously everything that I do on a daily basis, and just recently I'm taking on the role as an interim project manager, working on about 4 or 5 jobs currently, and it really does. It's a good immersion for me to get back in the game. And really see what goes on, in the heads of, people around these building sites, as well as working in close proximity to a general contractor who's really trying to put it all together, do sales, do ordering, making sure he's closing deals, et cetera, et cetera. So, when I'm talking about upskilling, I just look at, some of the experiences that I've had with certain individuals, in my time here. And, there's 3 things that stand out in my mind that you and I have to do well. And it really probably doesn't matter what type of business that we do. Matter of fact, it does not matter what type of business you're in. Whether you're a subcontractor, whether you're a general contractor or new home builder, I don't care whether you're in a different industry, even outside of the construction biz. These 3 things will certainly, if you do them well, they will actually have a good impact on your business and certainly your business metrics and your bottom line. So, we really want to make sure that, Gary Vaynerchuk has a good saying. He says, people that push and pull or are pushing hard and being patient at the same time, they are the folks that really, win the game. And it's a kind of an interesting concept because I know that people are sitting, listening to this right now. They're like, Max, I seriously want to do a $3 million revenue or sales this year. And yet they've just started in the last 2 years, and they are not the type of person, or they are not the complete person they need to be to actually own and operate a $3 million business successfully. I often hear guys and gals talking about, how much revenue they've done, but I'm telling you, revenue is vanity, but profit is sanity. So, I'm also super interested to know, hey, what was your net profit? Was it, at least 10% of your, your gross sales? Because that's the starting point. That's where you need to be. If you're down at 2 and 3%, your business is literally going out of business. So, really that's what we want to do. We want to be able to give it our all, but then it's kind of like not hurry up and wait, but, we want to be activated and we want to be working and we want to be innovating and we want to be creating. But at some point, having raised or continue to raise 6 kids, you don't get them to walk straight away or the week after they're born. There is a growing phase. It's like when a farmer plants a field, he doesn't go out there the next day to harvest. Understand there's a development process that's just part of nature. It's not something that's just designated for business. It is an organic process because businesses, for the most part, are run by humans. So the speed of the leader determines the speed of the pack. So you got to make sure that if you're going to lead a $3, $4, $5 million business, you got to make sure you're good enough to do that. Nobody's asking you to do that overnight, but you got to understand there is a development process both within you as a person as well as externally in your business. A couple of episodes ago, I talked about Understanding the risk, that associated with overwhelm and that feeling where you're just like, oh, I don't know whether I'm punch board or drilled, and that really can upset your ability to develop the business further. So I want to talk about three areas within your business. Any business should need these or will require that you do these well. The first one, salesmanship. The second one is leadership, and the third one is management. It's really difficult for you and me as a general contractor if we don't know how to close deals. I think some of us understand, how to sell, and we've got a bit of charisma, but maybe we don't have the ability to actually go and ask for the business, and we don't have the ability to make the clients feel satisfied at that point when you do ask them for the business. So there's a lot of necessity around your ability to sell and to make sure that in the sales process, you're ticking all the boxes that the clients are looking for. I might have mentioned on the last podcast that, I went and got a draw system fitted to my vehicle, and the guy told me it was going to be, $2,200. What he didn't tell me was it was going to be, $350 to install. Now, I didn't ask him what the installation cost. Why should I? He just told me that to buy those and have them fitted to my vehicle, it was $2,200. So, it's fairly disappointing when you get there and you're like, oh, there's, that unexpected kind of extra over and above the budget. That's why people hate salespeople, because we spin shit out one side of our mouth and then we go and ask for a totally different thing on the other side. And so, guys and gals, this is why I guess when we talk about the difference between fixed price and cost plus, it's easy for you to kind of get your foot in the door and start, because there's no real level of commitment there. When we do fixed price, we've got to be absolute assassins. We've got to be scientific, and we've got to be bang on, because if we don't, the clients can throw it back at us and say, well, you said it was fixed price. Why am I having to compensate you for your incompetence and for that oversight? And this is why I say that profit is a natural byproduct of great estimating. You need to have a really good approach to estimating to ensure that you're not missing anything. And so, in the sales process, this is why salespeople have got such a bad name, because they overpromise and they underdeliver. What we want to do is actually have the clients walking away and feeling like, wow, that was a much better experience than what I'd hoped for. And so, and I'll get onto this. There's a very common thread between these three items here today, folks. So keep an eye out for it. But it's all about focusing, like, honest to God, the client doesn't and shouldn't have to worry about your feelings. You're there to do a job. You're not there to be their friend, although you need to be personable and you need to be relatable. But I'm telling you, in the sales process, you've got to be solid. And just trying to do the whole bait and switch thing is just such an indictment against, clients' intelligence, that they're not stupid. There's so much, they have the ability to go and do some research to find out what you're actually banging on about and trying to confirm that maybe in 3 or 4 sources. And then they come back to you and go, actually, no, I don't think you're right. That sounds like bullshit. And then all of a sudden we're reeling and having to sort of make up shit to cover our first, incidental non-truth, if you like. And so, that salesmanship, your role is to find out what's important to them, the client, and make it important to you. Also, you don't want to get dragged around by your nose. You're a construction professional, and you have every right to have your time looked after as much as the client. So that's where it's up to you. You've got to have a systemized approach to sales. You've got to have a documented sales process. You've got to have the ability to extract the information from the client that you need to actually go and sell at the highest level. You need to find out who are the players. You need to find out who are the pretenders. You need to make sure that you get inside the heads of the clients as it relates to what their expectation is around what it's going to cost. I think too often we just don't like to ask the tough questions, and we don't like to maybe ask, for the money to go and put together a proposal. And so, you just have to be better at selling. Selling cures everything, so long as your estimating process is on point as well. And part of that selling better is actually saying no to clients. That can be tough as well. So there's, crikey, there'd be so many books that you could go read about selling, but I think we've got to focus down, stand back. That, okay, you can build stuff. That's a given. I hope you can build really well as well. And I'll talk a bit about that. But, at first, you've got to have the ability to be able to sell your services to the clients. You've got to be able to understand and empathize with that demographic in that marketplace and know what's important to them. Because if you can find a need and fill it, you'll have a pipeline that's full of work, or you'll have a workflow that's going to keep you busy for a very long time. So that was point number one, was salesmanship. You need to really double down and understand, folks. Please be aware. Don't sit there and go, "Oh, Max, I'm a great salesperson. I've had enough people tell me that they can sell, and they are not good salespeople. They are bad salespeople." Okay, character and charisma are two different things. The way that you get people on side at the initial meeting is not good enough to sell them the whole deal. And I've seen enough guys come in and try and, wow the clients, and that they should just trust them because they've been in the industry for 20 years. And out the back end, the clients are pissed off because all of a sudden what they were promised, they're not getting now. And they can sense that there's some deception going on. Guys and girls, I kid you not, if you want to just go and shit on your business, just pretend that you're good at sales. Look, what I want you to do is know where your weak spots are. You've got to go and do a SWOT analysis on your ability to sell. You've got to do a SWOT analysis on your selling processes, where your weak spots are. You've got to look at your strengths in selling, your weaknesses in selling, where the opportunities there are for you to, where you excel, and where you can really dive into, a certain marketplace. And then look at the threats. What is threatening your success as it relates to making a sale? Crikey. The second one there is leadership. You've got to have clarity of vision. Speed of the leader determines speed of the pack. You've got to have, again, a realistic understanding of your capabilities. You might not be the lead dog. You might be someone who's better placed to actually serve a general contractor and really run tandem with that individual to build a business. You might not be good enough. You might not have an appetite for risk that's acceptable. You may not be able to live with the fact that you go to bed thinking about your business and you wake up thinking about your business. You might be, you might not be the guy or gal that loves to have, text messages from clients after hours. You might not be, the type of person that can, compartmentalize your life in such a way that just because you get a rotten text message on Sunday afternoon from a client, it just goes and messes up the barbecue you're having that afternoon for, with some buddies. You've got to have the emotional quotient to be able to be the lead dog that your customers need to be, that your all of your team needs you to be, that your subcontractors and suppliers need you to be, and that your family needs you to be. Guys and gals, you've got to think about it. You've got to have that peripheral awareness up, and you please, you've got to be self-aware here again as well. Leaders have got to have a clarity of vision. They've got to understand where it is they're going. They've got to understand what it is that they've got to do to get there. They have the ability to forecast 12 months from here, knowing what their goal's going to be, and they have the ability to reverse engineer to figure out what they've got to do today and this week to achieve that end result. The flip side of that too is every plan is just dying to get changed, because that's what life does. And so you've got to be able to be in a position that you're comfortable with pivoting. I watched enough of the Super Bowl a couple of weeks ago or a month ago, whatever it was. No one really ran in a straight line to score a touchdown. I mean, they had to pivot all the time. They had to look for the open spaces. That's the key. If you want to score a touchdown, you don't want to run into a guy. You want to run around a guy. You want to go to some open space. You want to put another guy into some open space and give him the ball. And so, guys and gals, you've got to have clarity of vision on the fly, but also in a strategic planning part of the plan as well. And then, of course, further to leadership qualities, you've got to have a great attitude. Blaming people, blaming situations. Oh, I get bad leads. It's just the biggest load of horse shit. What is life trying to teach you? Maybe the universe is giving you bad leads because it wants to see whether you've got the chops to be able to actually believe that there's good leads amongst it, and you have the ability to be patient and actually to go and farm the leads and to follow up. I can't tell you how many times we go back and farm on behalf of our general contractors the leads that we've got 3 months ago, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I was just thinking about you the other day. I was going to give you a call." Like, dude, you just cannot sit there and wait for it to drop out of the freaking sky. Like, there is a level of creativity, and this is what it comes back down. This is why we're on leadership. As the leader, I have to be innovative. I have to be systemized. I'm the one that's got to be able to take the hits. I'm the one that's got to be able to take the accolades and not get too high on my own supply. I've got to be an absolute flatliner. When things are great, I'm flatlining. When things are shit, I'm flatlining. You know, I've got to be able to compartmentalize. I've got to be able to prioritize. You know, I've got to be able to manage certain things and figure out what do I need to attack first. Because so all of that determines how fast you run as a business leader. And therefore, that means people can tuck in behind you because that's what they do. And they follow you. They say, well, if that's where Max is going, I'm with him. I like what he's doing. I'll run as fast as I can to keep up with him. Whereas if you've got good people in your business and they're hitting your bumper, they're basically going to go, I can't work with this guy. I got to go. And I've had it. I've had guys walk through the door here and talk about my general contractors. They walk in with a six-pack and say, I can't work with that guy again. He's impossible. And that's the facts. That's exactly what happens. I've had that several times with different employees. And I'm telling you, if you do not face the facts that you are hopeless at this point and can get better and need to get better, then you will lose. You will find that you might have a degree of success for a while, and all of a sudden that will start to erode because the facade that you put up being a big shot builder starts to decay. It starts to erode. It starts to disappear, and humans start to see through your bullshit story and they leave you. And then all of a sudden, you might have started out as a $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 business, and you got into a few good jobs, and you maybe go to $2 million. Then all of a sudden, you turn around and nobody wants to stick around and work with you because you're a really rotten leader. Folks, I have seen it happen. It's absolutely how it happens. And if you lack self-awareness and you can't look yourself in the mirror and go, I need to find someone who can coach me, someone that's brave enough to tell me maybe where I'm going wrong if I ask them to do that, then you're going to find yourself not scaling up a business. What you're going to find yourself doing is going around the mountain. And I think that's going to be a great infographic. You know, you can either go around the mountain, around the mountain, around the mountain, around the mountain, and find yourself back in the same spot, or you can scale the mountain and go to the summit. That's two different approaches, but it requires two different types of people. That's leadership, right? The last one here is management. Management. Now, like I said at the beginning of the show, I've just moved into a project manager's role. And so for me, I've got a certain style and I'm a little bit intense. I'm very good at what I do. I've been around this friggin' gig for a long time and I've kind of seen a lot. And so when I go onto a job site, instantly something in my intuition tells me what is going on and what's not going on. And so, you know, I've had the unenviable job of trying to correct the course on a couple of jobs with the general contractor because the previous guy was a turkey and I won't say what he couldn't organise, but he certainly wouldn't get a job with me. That is for certain. But this guy had all the charisma. He would tell us how good he is. Tell my general contractor he's got 20 years experience. You know, and so it's just like where like we were finishing off one small bathroom job and he hasn't got the insulation inspection done on it. And now it's ready to hand over. It's ready to give to the client. It's painted. It's finished. It's like, what? And this guy is a gangster, apparently. You know, nothing but a bullshit artist, nothing but a freaking seagull, just wants the position and is worried about his own status, but actually doesn't give a shit about the guy he's working for, doesn't give a shit about the clients that they're working for, doesn't give a shit about the reputation of the business, just wants to punch a clock and get a paycheck. Guys and girls, we need to have ways, and maybe I've got to come up with some way. I actually was joking around with the general contractor saying, I need to come up with an app that I can scan you on my iPad and it'll be like a bullshit meter, you know. It'll be like, no, this guy is not what he's saying is. He's full of bullshit. And so, you know, guys and gals, it's really important that, you know, we understand management, because if we can't do it ourselves and we can't deliver management services to our own business, how is it possible that we are going to scale up a business rather than going around the mountain if we don't know what a good project manager looks like? So we need to, this is why I said it, you know, probably at the beginning of the show, it's like we've got to push hard and be patient, because we're in the development process. We as a leader are developing. We as a salesperson are developing. And what I always say is you've got to have a black belt understanding of all of the trades, but I'm telling you, you've got to have a black belt understanding actually of what it takes to be a good salesperson, leadership, and a manager as well. You've got to, and you and I are both, what do? I finished my apprenticeship when I was 20. Bang, I'm on the street. I could be a business owner of a construction business. Are you freaking kidding me? I can build shit, yeah, but I don't necessarily know how to run a business, how to scale up a business, how to make a profitable business, how to systemize a business, how to be the leader in the business, how to be a great salesperson, how to be a great manager. Like we didn't get any of that in trade school. We certainly don't get it on a building site. And so what happens? Oh, that's right. Our businesses start kicking us in the ass and we're like, why? I'm such a good guy. I'm so good at building decks. It doesn't mean shit. There's so much more education. We've got to push for education before we go, I want to do $2 million a year. It's ridiculous. I've had guys in my conference room that have said to me in the first year they want to do $4 million. Well, how much did you do last year? Oh, $750,000. What makes you think you can grow a business in a new town by 4 times in the first 12 months? Really? This is not just a case of, just because you make a decision, it's going to happen. There's so much shit getting pushed against you to want you to fail. It is an absolute struggle. The struggle is real. And so, I think in the delivery of your projects, in the delivery, in your sales process, you got to understand that management you got to manage sales. You got to manage your leadership capabilities. And of course, you got to, project manage. Nothing can bring a builder unstuck if all of a sudden he does his back costing and he starts looking, at his level of either liability or equity in the business is in a negative cash position because there was blowout after blowout after blowout, or there was delays. You can't afford not to get an insulation inspection because you're gonna have to pull a lot of drywall off so that you can get it re-inspected. That is just going to that'll destroy your business. It'll destroy your morale. And for you to dig yourself out of a cock up like that is going to be massive. And that's why the people that we put on the building side, they need to know exactly what I expect. And automatically, here's something I haven't done is a checklist. And it's so basic because back in my new home building days, we would have those milestones with checklists on a checklist as it relates to inspections. So you'd have, your footing inspection, slab inspection, frame inspection, plumbing inspections. Obviously the electrical, they were self-certified where I come from. And then your final completion or your occupancy certificate, those things need to be detailed because hang on a minute, we haven't had the insulation inspection, but we've got drywall on site, time out, what's going on? There's got to be accountability in our management of the delivery system within our construction businesses. If we do not, and we're gunslinging it and we're kind of doing it, just by kind of what in our head, and we've got 4 or 5 jobs, and what if they're all at different stages? You can't possibly remember that. So this is where software and systems are really going to help you build your business. So guys and girls, that would be salesmanship. You've got to work on that every day. You've got to get better because I'm telling you, you've got to get better today than what you did yesterday. That's just the way it is. Your ability to lead, your leadership capability, your understanding of the difference between IQ, your intelligence quotient, and EQ, your emotional quotient, and how it impacts your ability to lead. And then, of course, management, how you manage yourself. And then, of course, how you manage, these projects, getting them to completion, how you deal with certain, interferences in the project, how you deal with oversights that you've made in the construction project, how do you deal with delays in ordering from, suppliers. Those sorts of things is about what's your management system. How is it that you're managing projects right across the board, good and bad? Guys and girls, if you've got any questions about that, hit me up, Max at Business for Builders. Check out our Business for Builders Facebook group, VIP Facebook group. Hit the join button. I'll let you in if you're a good sort. Hit the bell, all that sort of good stuff as well. And I will see you on the next episode. Hope that helps. Go build a kick-ass business. See you on the next episode. Cheers.